What is up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood Spiff, back at it again with another video. For those of you who don't know me, I am a dude with a motorcycle and a camera. I make videos and sometimes take pictures of stuff. Today, honestly, I'm just out warming up my bike because I am about to do an oil change. I'm I'm past 25,000 miles. And before people start jumping ugly with me about, oh, you're past your service interval, I have a few things to actually say about that. So there is a lot of debate about service interval stuff, and I kind of want to talk about some things. As somebody who does wrench on his own bike and has gone to school for wrenching on vehicles, I really want to kind of address a few things, especially with Harley. Having worked in the industry before, there are a few things of note that I do kind of want to talk about. And I figure while I'm riding to warm up my bike to do an oil change would be a great time to talk about that, as well as show you guys what it's like in New York in the fall when it's not disgustingly cold out. So yeah, this is generally the area that I live in, and this is what it's like in the fall. I imagine that it's normally a lot more festive, but you know, the COVID is happening, and that makes things a touch more difficult to actually have any kind of celebration going and any kind of festivities. This is what it's like as far as, ooh, squirrel. This is what it's like as far as the environment. Classic fall colors, you know, lots of golds and browns and reds, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, back on track. So there's a lot of debate on when there's a lot of debate on what you can get away with and what you can't get away with, as far as a saw, dude. As far as your service intervals and kind of margin for error. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. With Harley Davidson specifically, and I mention Harley Davidson because I'm on one right now. My poor little Honda's back home, needs some loving. And also because I've worked in that industry before. So as far as Honda is concerned, the first service, the 1,000-mile service, is the one that you want to be particularly cautious about. On the 1,000-mile service, it is okay to go over. You should really be right on the mark, right on about 1,000 miles, plus, you know, plus or minus a few miles. But it is better to go over on the 1,000-mile service than it is to go under on the 1,000-mile service. And the reason why, a saw, dude. And the reason why is because when you go under on the 1,000-mile service, you still have those fresh metal shavings from a fresh engine. You're still not quite past your break-in period. It takes about 1,000 miles to break in a new Harley engine, whether it be a twin cam or an M8. That being said, on the rest of your service intervals, it is totally acceptable to go under. It is actually a little better to go under than it is to go over. I mean, preferably really right on the mark would be ideal, but it is a little better to go under your service interval than over your service interval. My odometer says is just almost at 25,300 miles, which I know talking about going over my service interval is not ideal. But before I got the bike, which I got the bike at 22,000 miles, give or take, and they had serviced it before I bought it. In fact, when I picked it up, they were like, hey, give us a couple of days, we want to go over it, make sure it's serviced and ready to go for you. So it had already been serviced at 22,000 miles, whether it needed it or not, which ideal, gives me a good starting point. Now honestly, with my engine oil, I should be waiting another 2,000 miles. I should be doing my engine oil every 5,000 miles, and my primary and my gearbox every 10,000 miles. But I'm doing it early. A, because preemptive strike, and B, because I want to kind of reset that service interval. So back to every 5,000 miles doing some type of fluid change and checking over my bike. As far as autumn goes in the area that I live in, this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is it. Like, way up that way, this is it. We're coming up on what I really wanted to show you as far as scenery goes. Just nice, beautiful, wide open roads. It's so warm out for fall that so many people are coming out. Asa, dudes. And it's just awesome. I'm in such a good mood today. Oh my god. Such a good mood. This guy even rode to work. Hell yeah, dude. So I'm kind of resetting that checkpoint of all of my service intervals, going to 25,000 for my engine oil change, and the rest of the 25,000 mile service. And then at 30,000 miles, I will be doing my 30,000 mile service, which check the neck bearings and repack them, whatever the case may be. All of that stuff, all of my critical fasteners, all of the things that I would want to do at a 10,000 mile service. And the two biggest services on a Harley Davidson are all of the but all of your 20,000 mile service, your 40,000 mile service, more bikes, your 60,000 mile service is in between those 10,000 mile markers. Everything should be fine, but every 25,000 miles, there are certain things that really ought to be checked that aren't on your 10,000 mile service. God, I love this. So they're gonna be your biggest service, and they're gonna be your most expensive if you have it done. And even if you don't, you might need to replace some things. But yeah, so it's when you're breaking in a new engine, it's better to go over that first service interval. But if you're just doing regular oil changes and regular service intervals, it's not so bad to go under. And no, I'm not going to film doing the oil change on my bike. It's just the engine oil that I have to do this time. And honestly, the videos have been done to death, and I really don't want to. Right now, for me, this is my personal wrench time. It's therapeutic, and maybe I'll share that later at some point again. But for right now, I just want it to be me and the bike. It's a special moment. I've got a date with my bike, and I really don't want to take you guys on it. That's pretty much it. But I did want to talk to you guys about acceptable service interval deviations. I also kind of wanted to show you guys some of the fall stuff. So while I was driving to go get my stuff, I saw all of this, and it was just incredible in the car. Living in the desert for a couple of years, I kind of missed this stuff. And the only way to experience it was to kind of drive out of my way. But here I am in my backyard, and this is where it is. This is what it is where I live, And I have to go into this, it all kind of funnels into this. It's almost like a gate. a gate into the fall. And you come, you know, you see this little archway of trees and this lovely mountain range of fall colors, things turning, you know, things dying, and well, that's kind of depressing. You know, things changing, things in transition. You know, it's getting ready for winter and all of that. You know, just all of the fall stuff that's not commercialized. And then you go through this little archway of trees, which is just up the road. And I'll talk more about it when I get there. You get to this archway, you get to this little gateway right here. This little this little gateway of fall. It's like this little taste, this little small little patch of just like of fall. And then once you come through this, once you get to the other side of this gate, this little archway, it just opens up. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what fall is like in New York, upstate New York, where I spent half of my childhood. It really is gorgeous in the fall time. Cold and kind of sucky to ride in sometimes. Today is kind of a fluke of a day where it's almost 80 and I can go out without cold weather gear. You know, I can ride it kind of comfortably and all loosey-goosey. But to me, like, look at this. Look at all this. You don't get this in the desert, and I truly missed this. I'm gonna pick right this minute to call it, honestly. Yeah, I'm gonna call it here. I just wanted to share some information with you guys and what was my professional opinion at the time. Well, professional at the time. Still my opinion, whether it's professional anymore or not. Yeah, if you liked this video, please click the thumbs up, please subscribe, and click that notification bell. That way you're notified every time I release new content. And please share this, tell your friends. I personally think that this kind of information needs to be out there, and not a whole lot of people actually talk about it from an inside perspective. Well, except for maybe John Maxwell, but that's kind of his whole thing. But again, I'm just some dude with a bike and a camera. The hell do I know? Yeah, that's about it. Until next time, Spiff out.